reading today, you're going to need your reading notebooks out. Reading notebooks out. At the top of the next empty page, you're going to write author's purpose at the top.
Where's my notebook? Oh no.
Without all of the noise.
This is gonna throw up. Good for you. No. My desk is majorly stuck. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm gonna use it. You should clean it. That takes too much time.
Reading notebook, author's purpose on the next clean page, which should be next to themes. We just did theme a few weeks ago.
That's a lot of letters.
Miss Long, some
Yeah.
of these pages got a little wet, and this name kind of made it pamphlet.
All right. Here I have a story. I'm going to read the story and model author's purpose, and then we're going to have a discussion from there. Okay? So following along as I'm reading so you can see what I'm doing. Dogs versus cats. Ever wonder which pet is a better pet, a dog or a cat? In my opinion, it isn't even close. A dog is much better than a cat. To start with, a dog will be very loyal to you for life. As soon as you walk in the door, there shouldn't be any talking. There shouldn't be debates. There shouldn't be conversations. What's happening right now? I'm reading. You're listening. As soon as you walk in the door, your dog will be waiting with the tail wagging. The cat will be hiding behind a curtain. Dogs also help to keep you healthier because they love to walk. Taking a dog on a walk once or twice a day will keep your dog happy and get you exercising. So if I stop and I start to use my thinking voice, this author, whoever's writing this, really likes dogs, don't they? So they're really trying to convince me that I should get a dog and not a cat. Try taking a cat on a walk. You won't make it down the block before your cat refuses to go any further, and you end up carrying the cat back to your house. Trust me, stick with a dog when getting a new pet. What is the author's purpose for writing this passage? Persuade the reader to buy a new pet soon? It wasn't just a new pet. So now my thinking voice is taking these and thinking about the story, what I read. It wasn't just any new pet, right? They were specifically talking about a dog. Answer choice B, persuade the reader to get a dog instead of a cat as a pet. Yeah, I would agree. They were definitely pushing the dog, right? C, entertain the reader with the story about a dog and a cat living in the same house. Nope, there was nothing about any of that. Entertain the reader with a story about trying to walk a cat. They mentioned that a little bit, but that wasn't the overall focus of the story, was it? Okay. Notice, I went through all answer choices. Okay, some of us tend to just read one or two and then pick one. I went through all of them. And what did I do as I went through all of them? Brendan? Right. I was thinking, right, how they related to the story. Some of them I could easily eliminate. Okay? So my choice would be B, because that was the one that fit the most, right? They were definitely trying to talk me into buying a pet, and they were definitely encouraging me to buy or to get a dog as a pet, right? So there is our answer, B. Let's see. You're going to take a minute and talk to your neighbor. Draw a conclusion about what you think author's purpose is. Tell why you think that. So next to you, somebody next to you, talk to them. What is author's purpose and why? I hear you talking. Conversation.
My favorite part of school.
Yeah, what is author's purpose? Why?
Oh. Isn't it a couple of conclusions that make you like want to get into the book?
What's that?
Isn't it like a couple of conclusions that make you want to get into the book?
Maybe. You want to dive into the book?
Yeah.
Author's purpose. Let's see. We're going to talk about author's purpose today. Well, all week long. So we're going to learn these things. We're going to talk about these letters. Pied. Oh, P-I-E-E-D. We're going to learn what they mean. We're going to describe them. Come on, mister. There we go.
Is it like math?
We're going to identify author's purposes in a text, just like I did here with this first one. We're going to provide evidence, because we know evidence is important, right? Finding information to support our answer choices. So let's talk. What's one thing you already know about author's purpose? I know this isn't the first time you've heard those words, right? What's one thing you already know, Maya? Good. Okay, so you've talked about persuading, entertaining, and informing, right? Those are 3 reasons an author might write something. Sean?
Kind of just, why he wrote the story, whether it's to, like, teach you something or entertain.
Right. It's why, right? It's why they're writing. Authors write for a reason, okay? They want their reader to gain something from it. Draw a conclusion or make an inference about what you think author's purpose is. We kind of did that, didn't we? Okay, it's why they're writing that story. Let's look at how we get this pied, okay? So here, some of you have already mentioned persuade. The P stands for persuade. When I'm persuading you, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to do, Riker?
So, persuade means, well, say if it's a story about cat, like the cats and dogs, the author is trying to persuade you into getting a dog, and she's listing off facts about dogs that make dogs better than cats.
Right.
So she's persuading you.
So they're trying to make us think dogs are better than cats, right? She's giving us all this information about why a dog is better. The walking part, right? They keep you healthy because you have to walk them. They greet you at the door. So all kinds of things that are trying to convince you dogs were better. Eli?
I have an example
Okay.
of it. The picture is persuading me to want to eat some pie.
That's right, it is. So in your notebook, you've already written author's purpose. You're going to make a chart like this. So I have 3 columns here. Okay, this is going to be where we write each of those letters and what they mean. So you're going to want to write persuade down. Okay. And then next to that, the author tries to convince the reader of something. Okay. So you're going to write those 2 things down.
We were writing them.
Writing those down. Persuade. Persuade. Author's convincing you of something. And you could write convince the reader of something. You wouldn't necessarily have to put all of this. Okay?
Oh wait, that's a.
This is what the P in pied stands for. Persuade.
For a second, I thought it was like.
Right? Convinces the reader of something.
For a second, I thought it was like the math.
Yeah, you're going to write this.
For a second, I thought it was like the math tide when you first.
Oh,
told me.
no.
I was
The
about to be
math
like,
pie,
oh
no.
god.
That's a different pie. And then an example is what goes in the 3rd box, an article about how to help save an endangered animal. So here, this author would be trying to convince you to save that, right? What you can do, how you can do it. That would be an example of persuading. You get a lot of articles on persuading you to recycle and conserve, right? That would be another example. Getting this written down. This is like your cheat sheet, so you have this information.
I like
Persuade
that.
the reader of something. As an example.
I like cheat sheets.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Who doesn't?
Probably the sport kids.
What do you think the I in pied stands for? Wyatt?
Wait, what?
What do you think the I in pied stands for? So the P was persuade. My next letter is I. What do you think it's going to be? Not sure? Ava? Yep, inform. So an author is going to inform us. What kind of information, if it's going to inform, what do you think is going to be in there? What are we going to find in there? Emmy?
Stuff that's like stating facts.
Facts, right? Facts. So this is probably going to be fiction or nonfiction? Probably nonfiction, right? Not fake. So this is nonfiction. How about this one? If they're trying to persuade you, what do you think about that one? Think back to that dog versus cat story. Were those facts?
Yeah.
Kind of, but what else, Jackson?
Opinion?
Some opinions, right? But again, this is going to be nonfiction, right? But it's going to have facts and opinions that they're trying to persuade you to do something. Here you're going to find more facts, okay? So if they're informing us, they're giving us information about a topic, okay? So a nonfiction book with animal facts would be an example. So in your next row here, you're going to want to write that information down.
You're gonna have to reread those because I was focused on the pie.
I was still focused on the fire before I
This one, why'd it have to be a pie? You're distracting me.
Because it's pied. P-I-E apostrophe E-D.
I'm hungry now, so now
No.
I feel like one
I just ate
Okay, we
breakfast.
ready to move on? That's what it sounds like. Then we're quietly writing. This PowerPoint, no.
I think she made it.
All right. One of the E's stands for explain. I think Maya had mentioned that one, right? So if we're explaining, what do you think is happening? If an author is explaining something, what are they doing? Landon?
Like explaining, like if it's like explaining how to do something. Or,
Yeah. So if we're explaining how to do something, what does that kind of writing need? Maya? It probably is nonfiction, but it's going to need steps, right? Okay, it probably is going to definitely be nonfiction if they're trying to explain to you like a recipe explains how to make something, right? Maybe you're explaining how to put something together, okay? Explaining how to accomplish something. So those would have steps that the author would include. This is directions on how to build a birdhouse. What would be some key words you would see in an explanation, an explanatory writing? What are some words I would see that I may not see in these two? Time order words. What are those? Maya? Yep. Very good. First, next, after that, before this. So an explaining or explanatory writing would show those key words. First, then, next, last. Okay, before, after. So explaining is one. It's going to go in your third row of your chart. Oh, it's because the iPad stands too tall, doesn't it?
The pie.
Right. Writing
I
down.
have to shield my eyes.
do you think the next E stands for? We've got explain, and then we have another E. What do you think that one stands for, John? Entertain, which we've talked about, right? Oops, I gotta go over here. I was gonna tap the board like it was gonna pull up my next word here. So entertain. Those are books we probably read more often, right? What are those? Nonfiction or fiction? You wanna? Those are fiction. They can include facts. We've talked about that, but they're a made-up story, right? And they're just to entertain us, right? Something that they're gonna enjoy. Now, when we're reading something that's entertaining, is it always gonna make us laugh? No. Right? It could be entertaining, but it might be a sad story that's entertaining. Okay? Maybe we read part of it and we enjoyed it, but it was sad. It wasn't necessarily one that was always going to make us laugh. Okay? So even though we're not laughing or having a great time reading it, doesn't mean it's not entertaining. Okay? Let's see. A lot of the books you guys read, what? Fiction book with characters, plot, etc. So Diary of a Wimpy Kid. What are some other books you read that would fall under entertaining here? Riker? Dog Man. Landon?
Big Nate.
Big Nate, yeah, the Big Nate books. Maya? What, the Norwal books, is that what you said? Yep. Harry Potter. My daughter's getting into Harry Potter. We keep trying to read that book, but she's reading a book for school now, so we had to take a break.
The Harry Potter books are long. I don't understand.
They are long.
I don't
All right,
understand how
writing
people
this down.
are really big brains.
That leaves us with one letter. Letter D.
I'm staring at the pie.
Letter D. What do you think, Wyatt?
Yeah, it better.
Describe. So D stands for describe. So if I were to describe this chocolate cream pie, what am I doing? What am I gonna do, Nick? I'm gonna use sensory words, right? The senses, the taste, right? How it looks. Okay, so if we are describing something, an author's gonna use some of the senses to tell about a topic, whether it's pies or something else. Okay? So an example would be an essay about the sights, sounds, and smells of a favorite place. Okay, or an essay about this chocolate cream pie would be an example. Okay? Is this in the way, Sean? Is that better? Does that help?
It's distracting me so much. Why do you have to pick pie?
Maya? It could be what? Yeah, it could be. True, it could be nonfiction or fiction. It could be both, depending on what you're describing. Few seconds here. I see some people still writing, so we're gonna give you some time to write.
I want entertaining.
You're right. That's fine. I'll leave it up there. We'll give you time to write here. Yes,
What do you do about this?
we're going over it.
Attention, pardon the interruption. Just one more announcement that we need to say, Spellbowl kids, you need to take test 12 sometime today. Spellbowl kids, take test 12. Thanks.
You like so sometimes you just try to put it down.
Those are the big brain kids.
Who is that guy? What's the last one?
Mr. Armando.
That's not Mr. Evanu. That's a lie.
It sounds like Mr. Avano, but with an even more deep voice.
No, it sounds like Mr. Evanu.
All right. Finishing up writing. If you're not done, I'll put this up for you guys later, okay? If you're not done and you're watching the video, you can pause.
It sounds like an
We're gonna
auto-tune
continue.
version of Mr. Evanu.
So, on your you're in my class or Mrs. Bush's class right now at school, you have this orange paper sitting on your desk. If you are not and you're learning from home, this paper is available on Schoology, okay, and you can print that off and tape it or glue it into your notebook. We're going to glue it into our notebook here in a little bit. Not right now. I just need you to look at it. Okay? So this checklist helps with asking some questions to figure out what the author's purpose of a story is. Okay? It kind of reminds you. And if you say yes to one of those, then that's probably the author's purpose. Okay? If you say no, then you need to keep reading. Can it be more than one purpose? You might. Okay? And if you say yes to two of them, then I would go back and find what am I going to look for to support my final answer. What do I need? If I say, oh, it's describe, what do I need to support that the author's purpose is in fact describing something? What do we need, June?
Like what he said.
Okay. Yeah, what they said, the author's words, right? Details, evidence. Okay? There should be, generally speaking, one purpose for a story. Once in a while you might come across another one, but generally it's going to be one, where it's going to fit into one of these particular categories. Okay? So it says, use this checklist to figure out the author's purpose of what you are reading. Put a check mark in that yes or no column to help decide what the author's purpose is. You can only pick one, yes, choose the best answer. So there's the choose the best. If you've eliminated a few of them and you're down to two, go back and look at that story. Okay, which one makes the most sense for it? And that's just kind of a little check sheet for you to hold on to help with determining author's purpose. Okay, so we'll glue that in here in a few minutes. We're going to keep going. We're going to practice. Okay, so I'm going to read here. Look at that checklist, the information you just wrote down, okay, and see if you can determine the author's purpose of this article or this short passage. Benjamin was running as fast as he could. He had to dodge between people on the street, women carrying shopping baskets, men with their walking sticks, and white wigs. His own legs, in pants and knee-high white socks, flashed like the spoke on a wheel as he ran. At first, he had heard his mother trying to call him back. "Benjamin, stop right now!" But her voice had grown distant as he raced down the road. He had to get there in time. He just had to. He had to tell his dad to vote against the British rule. What is the author's purpose for writing this passage? Entertain readers about a story of a boy trying to find his dad? Well, let's think about this. My thinking voice is saying he wasn't trying to find him, right? He knew where his dad was at. Inform readers of how the British started the war? I really didn't see any facts or information about how they started the war, so I would say no to B. Letter C, persuade readers to think the British were to blame for the war starting? Were they trying to persuade you of anything? Was there any opinions or facts in there? No. Entertain readers with a story about a boy running a race? No. So now I'm going to go back up there, because I kind of said no to all of them, didn't I? Let's go back to A. Entertain readers about a story of a boy trying to find his dad. So he was trying to find him. Why? Why was he trying to find him, Adam? Right, because he wanted him to tell him to vote against the British rule, right? So he was trying to find him to tell him something. What are we thinking? What are we thinking, Sean?
I don't know. I think it's to kind of entertain.
Think it's kind of entertain, okay?
Because, I mean, it's not really telling you something or giving you facts.
Right.
It's kind of entertaining.
Right, it's kind of maybe a historical fiction, right? It sounds like it's kind of made up, but we're talking about maybe a real, maybe it did happen.
I think it could also maybe be described, because it described with his, like, what he's wearing,
Oh.
running fast.
It was pretty descriptive, but that wasn't an option. We have entertain, inform, and persuade, and then entertain again. Other ideas? What do you think? Are we leaning towards A, Josh?
Yeah, it's A.
Okay.
Yeah, he was trying to find his dad because he was trying for his dad to go against the British rule.
Okay. Any other ideas? No? Nothing else? Why are we saying it's not B? Let's think about this. Why is it not B, Ava? Exactly. They're not really informing us of anything, right? There's no information, okay? And they're not really persuading us and they're entertaining where the boy is running. He's not running a race, is he? So I would say A. Okay, we ready? Oh, see, that said B, and I don't think that's right. We're going with A. Why A? What evidence supports A? Jackson? Right, he was running, right? We know he was running somewhere. We know he was trying to find his dad because what do you want his dad to do? Right, vote against the British rule. So those would support that it was A, right? That it was an entertaining story. He was doing that to entertain. Let's see what's next. Here's another one. Ready?
Yep.
I'm going to read, okay, while you follow along, and I want you to think about those options down there. Okay, what is the purpose? Suppose you lived thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt. What would you have eaten? Like all ancient Egyptians, you would eat bread with every meal. Garlic bread, raisin bread, and nut bread were 3 favorites. Egyptians also ate a lot of fruit, including figs, dates, and pomegranates. Vegetables were also part of their diet. Lettuce, beans, onions, cucumbers, and leeks were all popular. How do you think you'd like your Egyptian meal? What is the author's purpose for writing this passage? So I'm going to read them. You think about them in your mind here. To persuade readers that Egypt is the best place for vacation? To inform readers about what ancient Egyptians would have eaten?
No.
Persuade readers that ancient Egyptians ate better than anyone else in the world? Entertain readers with a story about dinner time in ancient Egypt? What do we think? I'm getting a lot of different opinions. So let's do it this way. 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C, 4 fingers D. Let me see those fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting some 2s. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of 2s actually now. Oh. Waiting on a few. What do we think? Should I hit the button? I would agree with this one. That's definitely B. They're informing us about what they were eating, right? Okay, because what evidence supports that? How do I know they were just telling us about this stuff? Ava? Right, it said they eat bread with every meal, right? They eat all different varieties of bread. They ate a lot of fruit, and then they listed fruits. Same thing with the vegetables. So they were informing us of those things that they were eating. Okay, here we have another one. Author's purpose. Todd was in his basement. He was searching everywhere for his sled. Across town, Benny was in his attic. He was searching too. It was time for one more of Todd and Benny's contests. This time, the winner would be the first to make sled tracks down the big hill. Down the big hill. Todd planned to be first. So did Benny. What's the author's purpose? No multiple choice this time. How do you know? So look at that check sheet. Those are your options. Describe, inform, entertain, persuade, explain. Which one, Ioana? Entertain, why?
Because it's talking about Todd and the other guy trying to go sledding.
Yeah, they're talking about 2 boys that are going to have a sledding race, right? So entertaining. Anybody have something different? Something different. Juliana?
I think it's kind of explain because entertain, it didn't say that much of entertaining.
Okay.
Explain explains what they're doing,
It does, but what kind of words do we generally need to see if it's explaining? Riker?
If so, words to explain kind of means like, so say an apple. To explain it, you can explain it by saying the apple is red, the apple has
You're thinking describing, so describing is using our senses. Explaining would be making an apple pie, right? What kind of words am I going to use in an explanation about making an apple pie? Adam? I'm going to list all the ingredients, and then I'm going to give you steps, right? First, second, third. So when I'm explaining, we should generally see some of those, okay? So this one is probably entertaining, okay? Because it's telling us what they're doing, okay? Here's another one. Vote for Carl for class president. Carl is a leader. Last year in 4th grade, he was a great vice president. This year, he volunteers to help with after-school clubs. He will do great things for our class. Carl promises more school dances and better choices at lunch. So vote for Carl for class president.
He does not look like he's in 5th grade.
What do you write? What do you think? Author's purpose.
He looks
John?
like his last year of high school.
Persuade. Why persuade?
Because it's telling you like to vote for Carl as class president and why you should.
Right. So they're giving you these reasons why you should, right? Opinions, right? He did a great job for our class. Or he will do. Is that a fact? That's an opinion, right? It's an opinion that he will do. Okay, they said he was a great vice president. Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, maybe. No.
We don't know because we don't know him, but it's an opinion of this person, right? Somebody else may say, yeah, he didn't do so good last year.
He's huge. He's
Okay.
not in 5th grade.
That's besides the point. Let's focus on what we're doing and not worry about the picture. All right. Couple of things here. Let me end this. Oh, so sure, save. I don't know what I changed, but we'll go with it. In Schoology, and I think I'm going to have to, oh no, I didn't. So there are 2 things I want to go over with you. For the author's purpose worksheet, that's your first one. Why is it not showing me the worksheet though? I might have to fix that. I don't know either. So there are 2 worksheets that you're going to upload. It's short paragraphs, and you're going to tell me if it's the, tell me what the author's purpose is. So I will fix that here. I'm surprised. We'll get that figured out in a minute. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the November book report, which I have posted here.
Oh, no.
So November, December book report, which means it'll be due later. I think I marked November 30th, but I'm going to fix that too. Okay, I have copies for you guys. So you have some book requirements. Let me pull this up here. Built-in display.
We have to read
Kind of.
Oh, we're doing the November and the December one?
Yes. All right. So here, let me slide this closer. This is available on Schoology. Book requirements. So you have 3 books. One should be a Veterans Day or Election Day informational text or realistic fiction. Okay, it has to be on something of that subject. It can be fiction, it can be nonfiction. Okay?
5 pages long.
Poetry book of your choice. It has to be your level, though, Sean. Okay? It has to be a 5th grade level. It can't be a little 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade book, so it's got to be longer than that. Then you're going to pick a poetry book. Okay? That one is going to have or it could be a poem. That one might be a little less in length. And then book 3 is going to be a Thanksgiving informational text or realistic fiction about pilgrims or Native Americans or something related to Thanksgiving. And then you have some options here. Okay? This shouldn't have a bulletin point. So you're going to pick one of these for each book. So for my Veterans Day book, I might write a diary entry from the perspective of the character. For my poetry book, I might do a test. Okay? For my book 3, I might write a new ending for the book. So I'm picking 3, one for each book, and they need to be different. Don't pick the same one for all 3 books. So when I finish book 1 and my activity, I would submit it. When I finish book 2, and my activity, then I'm gonna submit it. So you should have at least 3 submissions for November and December when you're done. Okay? And this is due. Gotta fix my due date here. We'll say the 16th, December 16th, this will be due. Okay?
That's a long time.
So you've got, yeah, well, it's the December and November, so I'm not giving you a new one for December. This is it. This is for all of November and for December.
So this is like
Okay.
2 months.
Right. So that's why it's a little more involved. It's due the 16th of December, and you're gonna submit them as you go. Okay? So your books, your 3 books, have to meet those requirements. So, does Diary of a Wimpy Kid count? No. It does not count. Okay? Who is or the what isn't it what or who are books? Maybe if you can find one that fits in these categories, I would think they would have a Veterans Day or Election Day book on that. Okay? Same thing with Thanksgiving. You probably could find one of those that fits into the categories. Okay? That's fine. So you could find a biography of something that works for here. Okay? So informational text. Don't pick ones that are super easy. And if you're not sure if a book is going to work, then you need to ask me. Okay? Jackson.
For the book 1, can it just be a book about presidents?
Oh, because of Election Day? Yeah, that's fine. It could be about presidents. Yep. Okay? We're not going right now. You'll have to wait. Questions? I know. Hang on. Maya.
For the poetry, can it be anything as long as it's like a poem?
Yes.
So like
If it's, as long as it's a poem, then this book is pretty open as far as what you pick to read.
Like it could just
Okay.
be a poem, like a 7 sentence, 6 sentence poem.
What's a book? So it should be a longer, so I have some I can show you. Okay, some poem books have lots of poems. Some books are just poem form, so you'll have to kind of figure out what you want to read and do with that one. Wyatt?
So do you like make your own test
Yep.
with the book?
Create a test for the other students using the information from the book. That's an activity. Sean?
Rikers thingamabob popping up on all the images.
Okay, that I'm not worried about that right now. That has nothing to do with reading right now, Sean.
No,
Sean?
it's in the
Nothing to do with reading.
in the
Yeah, but it's not a question about this and what I'm doing right now. All right. So your reading assignment, which I will get posted here, because I'm not sure where my pages went. They were in there, and now they're gone. But there'll be 2 you'll download to Notability. You're going to write the author's purpose, and then you're just going to resubmit them. Okay, and I'll get that fixed up here for you in just a minute.